Hello everybody, this is an overview of Property Maintenance Plus. Just a quick note, if you haven't noticed already, there's an option on the application menu that allows you to import the PMT data. If you haven't seen this already and you want an overview on that, please refer to the video on the web page. It goes into quite some detail on that for you. Now moving on to Property Maintenance Plus, the main screen is this one. This is where you enter your maintenance, view your maintenance, delete it, and add it. And you can also filter it to see exactly what you want. And maintenance is made up of components, and components are the owner, who owns the property name, like in this case home, the provider name, who did it, like for example the name of a plumber, the name of a heating and cooling person, the name of an electrician, could be yourself, and then tasks that were done. For example, fix the heating and cooling, change out a faucet, change out a pipe. You can see there are a lot of tasks here. You can add all the tasks you need. You can work with the default set of tasks that arrive with Property Maintenance Plus, or you can delete the default ones and put in your own. Either way, but when you add this information in, and the costs, and the date, and you can put a receipt image if you want here, that becomes the history. Now the way you put this data in is there's a maintain list on all of these. So you can add, for example, another owner. In this case, I'm going to use this particular owner. And at any time, you can change them this way too. So if I wanted to put in the owner's email, their webpage and address and so forth, I could type it in and then hit change, and it would get updated. Same thing is true for the properties, providers, and the tasks. So we just take a quick look at property. So again, bring that up. In the property, you can identify a lot of information, including who the owner is, which is actually required. You have to identify the owner of the property in here. So to put together a maintenance, you put in the owner, you put in the property, you put in the provider. In this case, I'm going to say this person did it themselves, and they're going to change the filters on their home, their heating and cooling filters. And then I'm going to say it cost them $12 for the part, and no labor and no tax. And then we'll say it was done today, and then we're going to add a note that says it was easy. Yeah. And then you just press the add button, and there it is right there. Add it in. Now let's say I didn't like that. Let's say there was something wrong and I wanted to change it. All you do is any item, you just double click it. It brings all the detail up here if it's not in here, and then you can change it. Whatever you need, and then you just hit the change button. You notice after you double click an item from here up to here, the change and the delete buttons are now activated, so you can change it or you could delete it. So I hit change, and now you can see my comments there as well. I could have easily just deleted it. One other thing you might want to do is be able to see things easier, so you can expand the size if you want. All of these are sortable, so if you want to sort it by provider, you can do that and put all those together. You can sort it any way you want. And you can also filter the data too, so if I want to see everything from this year, and I want to see one particular owner and one particular property, and I'll say the provider is self. Let's just say self and all the things that self is, so we'll say all. And I could just filter, and you'll see when I close that filter window that only the things that I did myself this year are shown. And I can also print this into a report by hitting print, and it will come up with a PDF report. There are other tabs that are also useful. One of the most useful things is that on each task, when you set up a task, you set up a recurring time. In other words, how often should I do this task? Like changing filters maybe every 60 to 90 days for your heating and cooling system. So when you pick something like, for example, when you set up your task, you're allowed to put in an interval. You can put in 1 year, you can put in a month interval, a day interval, or no interval if you want. But the important thing, and you can maintain the tasks here, as you can see, you can change, delete, and add them. The main thing is that interval is what Property Maintenance Plus uses to determine if things are overdue. So you can put together an overdue list here if you want. So you can click on that, put together all of these again, and see what's overdue. And And we'll just take a quick look and see what's overdue in here. And here we go, do a show. And we can print this out if we want. We can hit on the print button, print this out. Again, we can also move things around if we want, change that. We can look at costs the same way, date range, and you can also get a lot of different reports are available, so you can filter the data as you need and get these reports. And that's the basic overview Property Maintenance Plus does. So a lot of filtering here, a lot of ability to make things go quickly if you have a lot of data, the filtering options and the progressive filtering that's available on, for example, on this filter. So for example, what I mean by progressive filtering is when you choose one particular owner, it's only going to bring up the properties for that owner. If we had multiple properties here, you'd see that it only brings up the properties for that owner. So if I say home, now if I say providers, you'll notice here, first of all, there's a lot of providers that did work. And what this means is, even though this isn't all the providers, these are the providers that did work on this property for this owner. But if I say only self, I only want self, you'll notice that it only shows the tasks that were done by self, not by all the other people that might have done work too. So it progressively thins down the list so that you're not looking through a whole bunch of data every time you're trying to find exactly what you want. Hopefully that's helpful, and that concludes the overview.